Must watch. The Art and Dark Psychology of Ignoring a Woman. Old Stoic Wisdom. He who is not a slave to his emotions will rule those who are. Seneca. Let's confront a difficult truth. Most men struggle with the idea of strategic detachment, not because they lack strength, but because they've been conditioned to believe that constant availability equals value. In today's hyper-connected world, where attention is currency and validation is cheap, always being present isn't a virtue, it's a vulnerability. Responding instantly, chasing affection, and trying too hard to be the nice guy often has the opposite effect. It erodes mystery, weakens attraction, and places you in the same category as every other man vying for her attention. But here's where timeless Stoic wisdom cuts through the noise. True power often lies in restraint, not reaction. Ignoring a woman, when done with purpose, not pettiness, isn't cruelty, it's calculated clarity. It's about mastering your impulses and refusing to hand over your emotional power. By creating space, you force her to confront your absence, and in that silence, she begins to see your worth. This isn't about manipulation, it's about balance. When you stop giving your time and attention so freely, you shift the dynamic. You're no longer another option. You're the exception. You're no longer trying to be understood. You become the man she tries to figure out. In a world drowning in validation, the man who withdraws becomes rare, and rare becomes valuable. If you're tired of being overlooked, if you've been too available, too predictable, too easy to reach, then it's time to reset the frame. This isn't about being cold. It's about becoming composed, deliberate, and respected. We're about to break down the psychology and power behind pulling back, and how this single shift can realign everything in your favor. 1. Why ignoring works? Don't mistake availability for strength. Be sharp, be scarce, be the man she can't quite figure out. Why? Because human psychology, especially in the dating game, doesn't crave what's handed over on a silver platter. It craves challenge, mystery, scarcity. That's old Stoic wisdom talking, not some modern dating trick. When a woman senses that she can have your attention, time, and validation at her convenience, the dynamic shifts. Desire, it cools. Attraction, it fades. Because without effort, there is no value. And without value, there's no pull. She may like you. She may even care about you. But care without tension is comfort. And comfort doesn't stir passion. When you're constantly available, texting her daily, jumping into long chats, or chasing validation through compliments and overgiving, you blend into the noise. She's heard it all, seen it all, and you become another voice in a chorus of attention-hungry men. But when you stop, when you go quiet, that's when the music changes. Your silence disrupts her rhythm. Your absence becomes a question mark in her day. You no longer operate by the usual script. And that is where emotional gravity kicks in. The art of ignoring, when done right, is not cruelty. It's not neglect. It's space. Controlled, calculated space. It's Stoic principles in motion, pulling back with purpose, not pettiness. You must let her feel what life is like without your energy constantly in her orbit. Let her sit with the silence. Let her notice the contrast. Let her feel the distance. That's where the tension builds. And tension, gentlemen, is the spark that fuels true attraction. Now, don't get it twisted. Ignoring only works when it's backed by value. If you're coming from a place of weakness, clinginess, insecurity, desperation, then your silence doesn't signal strength. It signals surrender. It doesn't make her wonder. It makes her move on. This tactic, this old Stoic wisdom, only works when it comes from an iron mind, a man who knows his worth, who commands his presence with or without her. You must withdraw before you're dismissed. That's the timing. That's the art. Don't wait for her interest to die before you go silent. Don't let her get bored. Step back while there's tension, not after it's gone. That way, your absence isn't just silence, it's weight, it's value, it's something she actually feels. And when you master this, she notices, not just in her head, but in her gut. It disorients her. It makes her question, did I lose him? That tiny moment of uncertainty is everything. That's the crack in the armor. That's where pursuit begins. That's when the roles start to reverse. Because when a man stops chasing, the woman either steps up or fades out. And either way, you win. You've held the frame. You've kept your self-respect. You've walked in the ancient footsteps of Stoic men who understood that to hold power, you must not beg for connection. You must command it. That's the code. That's the main set. That's Stoic principles in practice. So don't chase. Don't over-explain. Don't dilute your power by overreaching. Be still. Be composed. Let the silence speak. That's how an iron mind operates. That's how you reset the emotional equation. Because when you pull back with purpose, she starts to lean in. When you make your presence rare, it becomes valuable again. And when you stop giving away your energy like it's cheap, she starts to treat it like it's gold. In the end, ignoring isn't about punishment, it's about poise. It's not about making her feel bad. It's about reminding yourself what it means to be grounded, strategic, and unshakably masculine. Let her come to you. And if she doesn't, so be it. Because a man who follows the old Stoic wisdom, who lives by Stoic principles, who builds his life with an iron mind, he doesn't lose when someone walks away. He simply creates more space for the right energy to walk in. 2. Pulling back to regain control. There comes a quiet shift in every man's interaction with a woman. It's subtle at first. A colder tone, a shorter reply, a delay in her response that wasn't there last week. And you feel it. That sinking sensation in your gut that tells you something's changed. You don't need a therapist or tarot cards to read the signs. You're not paranoid. You're perceptive. Her interest, it's evaporating. Her effort, vanishing. Her respect, dwindling and fast. Now here's where most men fumble the ball. They panic. They start explaining themselves to someone who stopped listening. They fire off long messages hoping one might reignite her attention. They send just checking in texts that reek of desperation. Some even resort to begging, yes, begging, for scraps of validation. Don't be that man. Be the man who pulls back. When you feel her pulling away, do not chase. You must pull back. Not as a tactic, not as a petty game, but as a declaration. A declaration that your self-respect is non-negotiable. A quiet, powerful gesture that says, I'm not here to convince anyone of my worth. Pulling back is not a sign of weakness. It is the art of restraint, the crown jewel of practical stoicism. You don't owe constant access to your energy. You don't have to fight to stay where you're not being valued. That is how you regain control. By stepping back, you shift the dynamic. You flip the script. You no longer appear as the man who's grasping, clinging, hoping. You become the man who chooses peace over drama, dignity over chaos. This is not emotional withdrawal. This is emotional mastery. Control the energy. Control the outcome. Here's what most men never learn. Women don't respond to logic. They respond to energy. You can't talk her into loving you. You can't reason her back into respect. But you can project the kind of energy that commands it. If your vibe says, I need you to be happy, she feels it, and she pulls away harder. But if your presence communicates, I'll be fine with or without this, she notices, that's when everything starts to shift. Not because she suddenly realizes your worth, but because you do. This is what the old Stoics understood. Marcus Aurelius didn't chase approval. Epictetus didn't plead for affection. They practiced Stoic rules with iron discipline. Only focus on what you can control. Let the rest fall away. And when you apply those same rules to your relationships, everything becomes clear. You're not retreating. You're resetting. You're not ignoring her. You're protecting your peace. That is the path of wisdom. Let her wonder. When you pull back, she starts to feel the absence of your presence, not because you're playing games, but because you're not giving what's no longer appreciated. Let her wonder where you went. Let her feel the silence that used to be filled by your attention. Don't text to check in. Don't send memes. Don't ask how her day was. Be still. Be calm. Be grounded. Silence is your sword. Distance is your shield. Not because you're bitter, but because you've finally chosen to value yourself more than someone's fluctuating attention. Final word, reclaiming the throne. A man who masters the art of pulling back has mastered himself. You don't need her to validate you. You don't need a response to feel worthy. You don't even need the relationship to prove your value. That is practical stoicism in motion. That is walking the path of wisdom. Remember, it's not about playing hard to get. It's about being hard to disrespect. So the next time you feel her drifting away, don't lean in. Lean back. Let your absence speak the truth your words never could. Let her feel the weight of losing a man who knows his worth. And above all, don't chase what's meant to recognize your value on its own. 3. The shift in power. Power is not loud. Power is not frantic. Power is not in chasing or explaining or proving. Power is silent. Power is composed. Power is found in the man who can walk away. The man who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't react. This is where real power begins. In relationships, power shifts the moment you stop moving to her rhythm, the moment you withdraw, not in bitterness, but in strength. You regain the upper hand. That is the art. That is the win. Epictetus taught, "He who is not a slave to his passions is free." You must understand this emotional discipline is your leverage. It is your weapon. When you stop reacting to her distance, when you stop chasing her approval, you shift the dynamic instantly. She expected attention. Instead, she hears silence. She anticipated effort. Instead, she gets absence. And that silence cuts deeper than words. It's stoicism win in action. Most men hand over their power without even realizing it. The moment she pulls back, he leans in. The moment she ignores him, he doubles down. And with every desperate move, he announces, without saying a word, that she is the prize and he is the pursuer. That is weakness. That is emotional slavery, and women feel it. When they know they can control the flow, when they know you'll always show up no matter how little they invest, they stop respecting you. And when respect dies, so does attraction. Don't let that happen. Don't be the man who breaks his own dignity just to keep her attention. Instead, become the man she has to earn. When you stop dancing to her mood swings, when you respond with calm silence rather than emotional outbursts, you reclaim your center, and from that center, power radiates. This is not about playing games. This is about self-mastery. When you pull back, you're not punishing her. You're honoring yourself. You're no longer afraid to lose her because you've remembered what most men forget. You are the asset. You are the calm in the storm. You don't exist to manage her emotions. You exist to master your own. And that mastery, that stillness, it speaks louder than anything you could say. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus once said, "Let her wonder. Let her question the control she thought she had. Because now she's seeing a man who can't be moved by her silence. A man who doesn't beg. A man who doesn't flinch. That shakes her. That flips the script. That wins." You must drill this deep into your mindset. Power isn't taken. It's surrendered. Every time you abandon your purpose to chase her mood, you surrender. Every time you seek her validation instead of standing in your own certainty, you surrender. Don't do it. Don't give what must be earned. Let her earn you. When you stop being easy to influence, when you stop needing constant reassurance, she will feel it. She will sense it. She will chase you. Why? Because she finally sees a man she cannot control. A man rooted in his purpose. A man focused on his mission. A man who follows the Stoic path. That is strength. That is magnetic. That is stoicism. Win. In today's world, where distractions are endless, where men are told to apologize for being strong, the man who stands firm in silence is rare, and rare is valuable. Let others panic. Let others chase. You don't. You stand tall. You command your energy. You let go of fear. That is how you lead. That is how you win. Remember, women crave certainty, but not from a desperate man. They crave certainty from the man who does not need them to feel whole. That man is unshakable. That man is sovereign. That man is you, when you embrace your higher self. So let's make this clear. Don't chase. Don't explain. Don't react. Lead. Master yourself. Pull back when necessary. And always remember what Epictetus taught. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Emotional freedom, mental clarity, self-command. That is your new foundation. Build on it. Live it. Win with it. If you found this powerful, like the video, share it with someone who needs to reclaim their self-respect. And don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and masculine insight. Comment to remember I reclaim my power by respecting myself first. Drop it in the comments to remind yourself. And every man reading, that true strength comes from emotional discipline, not emotional reaction. Let's build a community of grounded, high-value men. 4. Triggering her curiosity. Don't underestimate curiosity. It's not just a feeling. It's a force, one of the most potent in the human brain. And when it comes to women, it's not diamonds, charm, or six-pack abs that do the trick. It's mystery. It's the art of restraint. That's where most men fail, and where you, with an iron mind and a grip on old Stoic wisdom, will win. See, when a woman becomes curious about you, what you're doing, what you're not saying, why you didn't respond right away, her emotional world tilts just a little. And that tilt, my friend, is everything. Curiosity isn't mild, it's magnetic. It pulls her in, keeps her locked in, creates tension she didn't see coming. Most men overshare. They talk too much, reveal too fast, rush the process. That's weakness, that's insecurity in disguise. And women, whether they admit it or not, can smell it. What she really wants is a puzzle, a riddle wrapped in quiet confidence. A man who makes her wonder, not because he's playing games, but because he's grounded in Stoic principles. Don't hand her your thoughts like coupons. Don't explain your silence. Don't rush to reassure. That's emotional charity, and it kills attraction. You must understand, this attraction doesn't bloom from clarity. It grows in uncertainty. Not chaos, not confusion, just enough unpredictability to light her mental matchstick. When you ignore her, not with spite, but with purpose, you give her the space to imagine, and the imagination, especially in a woman who's used to attention and quick answers, is a dangerous place. That's where obsession begins. Suddenly, she's asking herself questions she didn't mean to ask. Why didn't he call? Did I say something wrong? Was he always this calm? Or did I miss something? Her mind spins, her emotions fire up, and you remain silent, still, composed. You're not trying to punish her. You're letting her feel the weight of your absence. That silence is louder than any words you could speak. Let me be clear, ignoring isn't about being cold. It's about being in control. A man of iron mind doesn't dance for attention. He doesn't chase validation. He observes, he waits, he holds, because he knows if she's curious, she's thinking. If she's thinking, she's feeling. And if she's feeling, you're already miles ahead of every man who begged, texted, or chased. The old Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius didn't text back. Epictetus didn't send good morning messages. They practiced detachment, not because they didn't care, but because they refused to be emotionally ruled. That's old Stoic wisdom. That's power. That's what creates the tension she'll keep replaying in her mind long after your name has left her lips. Now here's the trap you must avoid. Don't confuse mystery with manipulation. You're not ghosting. You're not punishing. You're applying strategic distance. You're removing the comfort of your presence, so she begins to value it. Don't always be available. Don't always explain. Let her sit in the silence. Let her work for your attention, because when she does, when she begins to mentally chase, you're no longer just a man. You're an idea, a challenge, a story she can't quite finish, and stories, especially the ones without neat endings, stick. That's what makes you unforgettable. When you give her space to wonder, you give her mind room to roam. And ironically, that's what builds the deepest connection. Not forced conversations, not long speeches, but the unspoken, the unknown, that gap between her expectations and your actual behaviour. That's where the magic happens. She may not admit it, she may act unbothered, but trust me, when she's replaying your silence, rereading that last text, checking your online status, she's in. That curiosity is now a loop, and you, my friend, are the center of it. Be the man she can't figure out. Be the one who doesn't flinch. Don't reveal everything. Don't be the open book she skims through in 5 minutes. You must apply Stoic principles in your interactions. That means discipline over desire, strategy over emotion, strength over reaction, and above all, never fear being misunderstood in the short term. Because if she's curious, she's not walking away. She's leaning in, she's engaged, and that's where real influence lives. So remember, if you want her attention, don't give her answers. Give her space to question. If you want her invested, don't flood her with emotion. Give her silence that haunts, because at the end of the day, it's not your charm, your wealth, or your compliments that keep her up at night. It's the mystery. It's the calm you radiate while the world chases. That's the effect of iron mind. That's the edge of old Stoic wisdom. And that, brother, is how you trigger curiosity that lingers far longer than love songs and sweet words ever will. 5. When she starts chasing, there's a moment every grounded man, every man who walks the paths of wisdom, must experience at least once in his life. It's subtle, electric, and a little bit wild. She starts chasing you. Yes, her. The same woman who was cold, dismissive, emotionally distant, the one who ghosted your texts or gave you that half smile like you were disposable. But now, something's different. She's reaching, she's curious as she's watching. That moment doesn't come from luck. It comes from a shift, from you flipping the script, from you waking up and refusing to beg for breadcrumbs, from you saying, I don't need to chase anymore, from practicing what Stoic rules preach, emotional control, detachment, and the silent strength of walking away. Absence creates hunger. Hunger creates pursuit. Let that sink in. When you remove your presence, you create space. And space creates hunger. Not the desperate kind, but the magnetic kind. The kind that drives people to wonder and want. Women don't chase men who are too available. They don't chase men who emotionally unravel at every smile. They chase the man they can't quite figure out. The one who doesn't fit the script. The one who doesn't collapse at her feet. Be that man. Not manipulative, not fake, not cold. Just rare. Rare like a diamond in the mud. Rare like a man who doesn't hand out validation just because she showed up in lipstick and filtered selfies. That's practical stoicism in action. You don't react. You respond. You're not angry, just centered. You're not cruel, just unavailable to games. How the chase begins. The signs aren't always flashy. They're often subtle. But make no mistake, they're there. She texts more. She replies to your story. Suddenly, she accidentally likes a photo from 2 summers ago. She brings up old conversations, inside jokes, shared glances. She's fishing. Testing? Tugging the line to see if you'll bite. To see if she still has you. Don't fall into the trap. This is where most men mess it up. The moment she shows interest again, they collapse. They flood her with attention. They treat her return like a blessing from above. They celebrate being noticed. And just like that, she's gone again. Why? Because now she knows she's won. The chase ends, and with it, her intrigue. Hold the line. Manage the chase. Here's what you do instead. Be composed. Be still. Be deliberate. When she reaches out, respond. But don't race to reply like you were waiting all day. When she shows interest, appreciate it. But don't dive back in head first. Don't give her everything just because she showed something. Let her do the work. Let her earn what she once took for granted. That's the power of Stoic rules. You don't move just because someone else twitches. That's how a man of depth moves. Slow, sure, unapologetic. Every message she sends, every attempt she makes, is another brick in the wall she's rebuilding. And with each effort, her emotional investment grows. Don't be predictable. Be polarizing. There's power in being unpredictable. There's power in not reacting to every breadcrumb. There's power in silence when she expects noise. When you hold the line, you shift the dynamic. You become the man who sets the tempo. You decide how fast it moves, how deep it goes, how much energy you return. That's not control, it's self-respect. You're not operating from scarcity. You're not trying to win her back. You're evaluating whether she deserves to be let back in. Big difference. Test her intentions with patience and precision. This is the moment when her motives are exposed. If she's just bored, if she's chasing for ego, validation, or attention, she'll disappear again the moment you don't immediately fold. But if she's real, if something's shifted in her, she'll persist. She'll meet you halfway, maybe even more. That's when you'll know this isn't a game anymore. This is a return with purpose, a test passed. But remember, never let the Stoic in you go to sleep. Even if she comes back with tears and tenderness, even if she whispers old promises with a new tone, you must remain grounded in practical Stoicism. Don't become the man who throws away months of growth for one seductive glance. Don't abandon the paths of wisdom because comfort came knocking. She has to earn her way back. And you walk forward, either with her beside you or without her entirely. That's how men rise. That's how you reclaim the frame. That's how you live the art and dark psychology of being the one who can walk away. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us, or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. 6. Staying silent with confidence. Don't underestimate silence. Don't treat it as absence. Understand this now. Silence, when used with confidence, becomes a weapon sharper than words, more magnetic than charm, and more commanding than any desperate display of interest. This is not passive. This is not avoidance. This is strategy. This is Stoicism. This is Epictetus in action. This is how you win. Weak silence is fear hiding behind stillness. It screams insecurity, and it gets dismissed instantly. But powerful silence, the kind rooted in self-respect, discipline, and emotional control, echoes loudly. It says everything without saying a word. It tells her you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't need her validation to feel like a man. This is the modern warrior's approach, grounded in ancient wisdom. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. What's more out of your control than someone else's emotions? So stop trying to manage hers. Stop explaining yourself. Stop filling the void with words that weaken your frame. In today's world of constant noise, the man who masters silence wins. The man who embraces the pause owns the room. In a sea of noise, silence stands out like thunder. You must reclaim your energy. You must understand that you owe no response to disrespect. If a woman is distant, cold, manipulative, don't react. Don't spiral into neediness. Don't explain. Don't chase. Instead, withdraw in silence, stoic, sharp, unmoved. This is not ghosting. This is not revenge. This is clarity. This is discipline. This is strength. Your silence is not a retreat. It's a reset, a recalibration of your power. It's you choosing to protect your peace rather than entertain drama. Let her feel the emptiness where your attention used to be. That's how you create emotional tension, not by pleading, but by vanishing with dignity. Let's make this crystal clear: talking too much is weakness. Over-communicating is self-sabotage. Stop revealing your hand. Stop trying to soothe her ego. When you speak too soon, too often, you dissolve mystery, you kill intrigue, you become another man she can predict and forget. But the man who holds his ground, who keeps her wondering, who lets her feel the weight of his silence, that man becomes unforgettable. That man lives the principles of Stoicism. That man wins. While she's overanalyzing your stillness, you're in the gym, you're building your business, you're sharpening your mind. While she's refreshing her inbox, you're investing in your mission. That contrast is magnetic. That shift in focus changes everything. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her doubt if she still has you. Let her reach for what she once took for granted. That's the game. And you play it by staying silent, with confidence. Because confidence in silence is louder than 1,000 empty words. Don't explain. Don't chase. Don't fix what she broke. Let your absence correct what your presence could not. Let your stillness be the lesson. Let your energy be earned, not given freely. When she feels that you are unaffected, untouched, and at peace without her, she realizes she's no longer in control. That's when curiosity turns to regret, regret turns to attraction, and attraction turns into pursuit. Let's be brutally honest, most men talk themselves out of a woman's respect. Don't be that man. Be the opposite. Be the presence that haunts her thoughts, not the background noise she scrolls past. You are the prize. You are the lighthouse in the storm. You are the standard, and the standard doesn't chase. It chooses. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your silence is your reaction. Your silence is your control. Your silence is how you win. So, the next time she tests you, backs away, or plays games, don't flinch, don't text, don't explain. Just go silent, go inward, focus forward, level up, let her feel the shift, let her feel the vacuum. Because men who master silence win. They win the game of attraction. They win the war of self-mastery. They win life. This is not a trick. This is discipline. This is stoicism. This is Epictetus. This is how real men win. 7. Using ignorance selectively. Don't ignore women mindlessly. Be smarter than that. This isn't about ghosting or emotional games. It's about strategy. Selective ignorance is not a tantrum. It's not avoidance. It's not some cold, heartless alpha cosplay you saw on the internet. It's a scalpel, not a hammer. It's a tool rooted in old Stoic wisdom, designed to protect your peace, sharpen your perception, and command silent respect without ever raising your voice. Most men swing too far in either direction. They either smother her with attention like a puppy desperate for approval, or they freeze into bitter silence, thinking they're being strong when really they're just scared. That's not strength. That's avoidance wrapped in bravado. True power lies in emotional discipline, knowing exactly when to be present and when to withdraw. That's what a man with an iron mind understands. That's what Stoic principles demand. Selective ignorance is about clarity and control. When she tests your boundaries, gives you attitude, or subtly pulls away, don't chase, don't explain, don't start a TED talk on how you deserve better. Just be still. Step back. Withdraw your attention without drama, without explanation. Let the silence speak. That absence, the cold space where your energy used to be, is louder than any argument. It's your way of saying, I saw that. I'm not reacting. I'm observing. This is not emotional unavailability. It's emotional mastery. There's a difference. One is fear, the other is finesse. You're not ignoring her to punish her. You're choosing to disengage from behavior that disrespects your value. That's how men with an iron mind operate, with surgical detachment, not emotional impulse. But don't get it twisted. Selective ignorance is not emotional laziness. You don't ignore her when she's being soft, sincere, or genuinely trying to connect. That's not strength. That's stupidity. That's how you confuse her and sabotage something real. A Stoic man doesn't run from connection. He just doesn't overextend where there's no respect. You must learn the rhythm, when to engage with warmth and when to withdraw like the tide. This dance, this deliberate push and pull, it teaches her to value your presence, not take it for granted. And in a world where attention is cheap, scarcity has power. Here's another truth bomb when she's running hot and cold. Stop chasing the heat and fearing the cold. That's how boys behave. A man rooted in old Stoic wisdom watches. He waits. He lets her pattern reveal her priorities. If she's consistent, great. If she disappears, also great. Either way, your response doesn't change. You stay grounded. You let her inconsistency remove herself from your life so you don't have to lift a finger. That's Stoic power, the patience to let the truth emerge without interference. That's the iron mind at work. Solid, stable, unbothered. And when she circles back, because they often do, don't throw open the gates like some loyal Labrador. Be cool, be steady. Let her earn her spot back in your world, not to play games, but because what is earned is respected, and what is freely given is often abused. You're not punishing her, you're proving something to yourself, you're showing her, and more importantly, that you are a man of value, and that your time, your attention, and your energy are not given lightly. That is not arrogance. That is alignment with Stoic principles. Be kind, yes, be fair, but above all, be rare. The point is this: ignoring a woman recklessly is childish. Ignoring her selectively is wise. It's not about domination. It's about discernment. It's not about punishing her. It's about protecting your peace. Don't confuse noise for power. Real strength doesn't shout. It withdraws. It creates space. And in that space, truth reveals itself. A woman feels the depth of a man who can walk away without slamming the door. She feels the presence of the man who can stay silent and still own the room. That's the man with an iron mind. That's the man who lives by Old Stoic wisdom. That's the man who wins. Not because he chased, but because he knew when to disappear. All right, fellas. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you being here. Let me leave you with this. Ignoring a woman isn't about playing games or being cold. It's about stepping into your strength. When you choose silence with purpose, you stop chasing and start leading. You're not trying to hurt anyone. You're just protecting your energy and showing that your presence is earned, not begged for. Here's my advice. Use this tool with intention. Don't ignore from a place of anger or fear. Do it from calm confidence. Let your actions speak your value. Because when you master the art of pulling back without needing approval, that's when you become truly powerful. Stay grounded, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one.